Hey guys, welcome back to the Hez Project. I'm John Ordolaza, and after a week of this film's release, after watching it twice, going back to a bunch of scenes that were very impactful and very emotional, I'm going to be talking about Zack Snyder's Justice League once again, but this time filled with all the spoilers. So if you have not seen Zack Snyder's 4-hour cut of this superhero flick, I cannot recommend it enough. It blows that 2017 crappy version right out of the water. It doesn't exist anymore. This is the Justice League, so let's get into it. So I've said before, this film is basically the exact same plot as the 2017 version. They have the same core story to them. It is Steppenwolf working for a higher power, coming down to Earth to steal mother boxes so that he can rule, essentially. That is like how to dumb this version of it down, because that's literally what the 2017 version is about. But there's, again, 2 more hours of this film is added into it, and it's just context after context after context. So much is fleshed out in this version that you just don't get in that version. For instance, Darkseid is in this film. He has a presence. He is the one who sends Steppenwolf out to find the mother boxes. Actually, he says in the film that he owes him a debt of, 50,000 worlds? That's insane, dude. I mean, Steppenwolf must have done something really crazy. Like, I know they alluded to him betraying Darkseid in some way. I don't know how, but yeah, 50,000 worlds, dude. He struggled quite a bit to get this one. All of these scenes that we saw in that first version were just extended and had more weight to it and more meaning to it because there was added scenes, added little segments within every scene. Like the whole Amazonian fight with Steppenwolf when he came to steal their mother box. That was probably one of my favorite parts of the movie, that whole sequence. It was still really cool to see in Justice League. It was probably the best part of that 2017 cut. But in here, man, those Amazonian women, they fight until they can't anymore. And like, it's so illustrated, the struggle and the desperation on all of the Amazonians, all these women that you just didn't even really know about. Like, you don't have to know any of these Amazonians. You just gotta know what they're all about. They're all about protecting this mother box so that it doesn't land in the wrong hands. And the music in this scene, the music in all of the scenes, or I guess we're just gonna dive right into it, but the music composed by Tom Holkenborg, aka Junkie XL, is incredible. It's the biggest improvement, in my opinion, from that 2017 cut. It just does something to all the scenes that Danny Elfman's half-assed score just couldn't. And again, I'm not picking at Danny Elfman for being a terrible composer. I know he was brought on last minute with Joss Whedon to finish the score because they fired Junkie XL and they wanted to redo the whole score. So he added in his flavor of the Christopher Reeve Superman and Michael Keaton Batman, which was cool, I guess, but like, come on, man. There was no Justice League theme, and dude, there is a Justice League theme in here. It's riddled all over the place, and it's weaved into the other individual characters' themes. Like, Aquaman's got his own little tune, Cyborg and Flash have their own tune in this film. Wonder Woman's theme is in this film that debuted in Batman v Superman, and I thought it was jarring at first there, but in here, it's a little more fleshed out, and they added in this orchestra woman just singing it. Dude, I know a lot of people hate it. I love it. I don't think it was overused at all. I think it was used perfectly. It wasn't even that loud at times. Like the first 2 times they used it was pretty loud. But dude, I'm a sucker for that stuff. If the rest of the song is good, I can forgive it. It's kind of like Screamo. I'm not a big fan of that, but if they have great music in it, I'll withstand the screamo, you know? There's a lot of dialogue choices in some of these scenes that were cut out entirely. Like, Batman doesn't tell Aquaman that, oh, I heard you talk to fish. Like, that's just out, and a lot of their banter and the rest of that scene is cut out. It's extended, but it's just Zack Snyder's thing. It's what he wrote for it, or him and Chris Terrio, I believe. This is the film where you really start to see Zack Snyder's plan and vision bleeding out, like, right in front of you, because it's never been more clear what he wanted to do with this universe, with these characters. The other half of the Justice League were not done justice. Aquaman, Flash, Cyborg. More Cyborg. He literally had nothing to grab onto in that first 2017 version. They still had some scenes for Flash and Aquaman, but for the most part, you get more of them in here. You get the whole scene with Flash saving Iris West on the street in slow motion. Really cool scene. I enjoyed it. Aquaman gets a scene with William Dafoe's character from the Aquaman film, you know, telling him to take up his mother's trident. It basically is setting up that Aquaman movie because this is technically supposed to take place before that. It technically was filmed before that too. So yeah, it's like we're all taking a step back in the chronology, if you will, of the DC films because like we all just gotta know that. Like, I can't believe some of the complaints were actually, well, he's not the same Aquaman in the Aquaman movie. Well, it takes place before Aquaman. Cyborg, as I'm sure everyone's been saying, he is the heart and soul of the film. I personally don't think he is that big of a deal, but for his character, he has done justice. He has done right in this film. I did really enjoy everything that they had in this film. But it wasn't just Cyborg that was the heart and soul for me. To me, it was just the new scenes that we saw in Snyder's Cut that really conveyed them as a team, as a unit. And that was the heart and soul for me. I don't know about you guys. I do enjoy the Cyborg stuff, but yeah, it wasn't too heart-wrenching in my opinion. Like, it sucks, you know, what happened to his father. His father, played by Joe Morton, has a much more prominent role in this film than he did in the other one. Everyone has meaning in this film, and they all serve a purpose to drive the story along. Nothing feels questionable like some things that Batman v Superman do. Everything feels like it's happening for a reason, and it all makes sense to me. Even Steppenwolf is more fleshed out. You see he wants to get on Darkseid's good side. Let's talk about it. Henry Cavill as Superman in this film trumps Henry Cavill as Superman in the other film. It just blows it out of the water. So when they were filming Justice League, they wanted to do the black suit, but the studio wasn't having it. They said to film it in color, so that's what they did. And Zack Snyder revealed that him and the VFX artist, he goes by DJ, they found out how to change his suit in post to black and silver, so that was pretty cool. And in the 2017 version, they just used the raw footage, I guess, without changing any of his outfit. I'm sure they probably made it more brighter, but yeah, they just got the full-on black and silver suit in this film. It looked pretty cool, I'm not gonna lie. It did look really cool. It harkens back to the death of Superman, or resurrection of Superman. I don't know what that storyline is, but he comes back with a mullet and the black and silver suit. It's basically, it's meant for absorbing energy, absorbing more sun energy quicker. Yeah, they didn't need to explain what the suit is used for. All he had to do was put it on, fly up into space, stand in front of the sun, absorb the energy. It's simple. And the suit's black, the sun's out. It's like common knowledge. I want to talk about this last hour of the film because I can talk about the whole movie forever. But the fact that this final hour was chopped down to absolute garbage for the 2017 version, it's criminal. It's criminal. There's so many good things in this final act, this final fight with the Justice League and Steppenwolf and his forces of the parademons. It's so good. For the most part, everyone in this final act is doing something different than they were in the final act of the 2017 version. Batman looks more versatile, if you will. Like, he's going head to head with these parademons, fighting them off, using their weapons against them. That was really cool. Wonder Woman is probably the most badass person in this film up until Superman swoops in to help them out. So Steppenwolf is about to hit Cyborg with his axe because Cyborg is trying to separate all three mother boxes so they don't form the unity. I believe that's what it's called. And so he's doing that. He's about to get axed by friggin' Steppenwolf. Superman doesn't block, doesn't punch or do anything. He literally just flies in the way of Cyborg, stands right in front of him, just stands there and takes the shot to the shoulder, takes that axe, smack dab in the shoulder, just says, not impressed. Blows on the axe, freezes it, punches it, breaks it, shatters, and he just goes to town on Steppenwolf. You hear the flight theme from Man of Steel kick in, he's lasering him, punching him, lasers his shoulder, lasers his horn off, and you can see he's frightened. He's frightened by the Kryptonian. That's why they made that very clear in the beginning of the film when they showed the recap of Batman v Superman, the climax where Superman dies and his scream echoes across the entire world, notifying on Darkseid's phone like, oh, the Kryptonian's dead. Let's go. It's pretty much what it was. In this scene, you see kind of like echoes going out as he's punching Steppenwolf, kind of like a reminder, oh, the Kryptonian is back. The reverse of what we saw in the beginning of the film. I thought that was really cool. Then we see a portal open. It's Darkseid standing next to his goons. One of them is Granny Goodness and Desaad. The whole plan of this final act was to have Cyborg enter the mother boxes so he can separate them. But in order to do that, he needed a charge from Barry, from the Flash, so that he's basically running around this entire town as fast as he can so he can reach the speed of light so that he could, you know, give them the charge. But a parademon shoots him, he gets a little injured, and he's trying to recuperate as fast as he can, but it's too late. The mother boxes have merged into the Unity. It's all over. There's a big flash. The whole screen goes white. And then you see Flash put his hand up. Time freezes. And at this point, the second he put his hand up, I sit up so hard at the edge of my seat, just looking at the screen. What's happening? And then it took me a second to see what he's doing. Like, you could see how desperate Barry looked in this moment. And then he just starts running towards a big, bright light. And you see, as he's making his steps, the ground is forming after every step, and this is outrunning the reversal of time. Like, what? That realization of what was happening and what Zack Snyder was able to capture on screen for his film was emotional. I teared up in this exact scene. In this moment, seeing the Flash outrun the reversal of time, it was just insane. And the music by Junkie XL that's probably one of my favorite superhero themes of all time right now. I love that moment, and that theme is so impactful and it's so gripping. So he reverses time right before the Unity formed, and they finally just defeat Steppenwolf. Superman and Cyborg separate the mother boxes, and they kill Steppenwolf right in front of Darkseid. And as a matter of fact, they send him back into the portal with a severed head, and basically just sending a message, yeah, don't come here. Don't come here. And of course, that scene with Darkseid and his minions, they're setting up the return possibly in a Justice League 2 and beyond, which is really cool. But unfortunately, I just don't think Warner Brothers wants to go down that route. They're too busy making a Blue Beetle film and a Zatanna film. That's all good and all, I guess, but I just can't see why we can't have a little bit of both worlds. There's such thing as the multiverse. We're not that dumb. We can understand why there's two versions of superheroes. Just do it. Then we see the pan-up shot of all the superheroes standing on the edge of the building as Batman's ship comes to pick them up. You hear the beautiful theme, the Justice League theme swell up. It is incredible. I honestly think it is on par with the Avengers theme. I love the Avengers theme, but this theme is also freaking incredible. There is an epilogue to this film in which we see kind of like extended post-credit scenes, but it is a part of the film, so you can't really ignore it. You get that scene that was a post-credit scene for the 2017 version. It's Lex Luthor escaping prison. He's talking with Deathstroke, played by Joe Manganiello. I don't remember his name, but he played Flash in Spider-Man 1, which is funny because Flash. It's not really that funny, actually. This scene was meant to set up the Legion of Doom in the 2017 cut, but in here it's actually setting up Ben Affleck's solo Batman film, the one that was supposed to happen before Matt Reeves jumped on, and then Ben Affleck left, and then Robert Pattinson stepped in. So before all of that, yeah, Ben Affleck was going to direct, write, and star in his own Batman film. It was going to be Batman versus Deathstroke. That I still very much want to see. That's too bad that we don't get to see that either. I feel like, yeah, it's just a little too late because Ben Affleck's getting up there in age. He doesn't seem very enthusiastic about playing the role anymore. I know he's going to be returning in the Flash film, so that's really cool, but I'm kind of glad everything stayed intact, though. Like, they wanted to set up some of these films in Justice League in 2017, so I'm glad that kind of remained in this one. Then we get a nightmare scene. I honestly thought we were going to get a whole hour of nightmare in this film, but we didn't. No, it just got, like, what, 5 minutes at the end? That's crazy. In this one, we see Cyborg, we see Mira, who's kind of there to avenge Aquaman because he died in this universe, and we see the Flash in this extra armor, which is the armor and the face. He shows up his face with some facial hair and whatnot. It's his look from the Batman v Superman scene where he went back in time to warn Bruce way too soon, which is crazy to think. That felt very like shoehorned in, like it didn't belong in that movie. And I guess it was supposed to feel that way because he did travel back way too soon, and that Bruce in that film had no idea what the hell was going on. So I guess it makes sense. I'll forgive that little scene a little bit from Batman v Superman, but I still got issues with it though. We see Deathstroke with a mohawk in this nightmare scene, which was kind of odd because we just saw Deathstroke for the first time in this universe in the scene prior. He basically expressed interest in hunting down and killing the Batman, but then right in the next scene, we see them working together. Then I think the biggest reveal is Jared Leto as Joker. We obviously saw him in one of the other trailers, so that's pretty cool. Joker is a part of this little gang that Batman's got going on, the Nightmare Gang, and they have a nice dialogue exchange. I'm not gonna lie, I thought their dialogue exchange was pretty interesting. Bear in mind the one reach around joke that was very oddly placed. I do like the look of this Joker better than the Suicide Squad Joker. I think Jared Leto's performance as the Joker improved from Suicide Squad. I kind of do prefer the Justice League version. However, it's still not like the most amazing thing. Like, he still, in my opinion, doesn't touch Heath Ledger. He doesn't touch Joaquin Phoenix. He's just, I don't know, something about him isn't very compelling in my opinion. He just doesn't sit well with me. I like all of the lines that he delivers, but it's just something, I don't know, the laugh is very not my thing. Yeah, I don't know. It's a weird choice to go with that character, but it's also hard not to rip off of something else. It's really hard. You have the deranged laugh of Joaquin Phoenix, and then like the hysterical laugh of Heath Ledger. It's like, where do you go? What do you lean towards? And then he goes for like eerie and kind of like silent. It's bizarre. As I said though, in this dialogue exchange between Bruce and Joker, they're kind of alluding to events that occur in the storyline Injustice. Now, if you guys haven't seen my video covering the Injustice games, go check that out, because they're pretty freaking awesome. I really do appreciate, and I'm really down to see Zack Snyder tackle the Injustice storyline. I think that'd be really cool. To see these events play out in this order is very jarring because, yes, we don't have a whole bunch of setup films for these characters, and I understand that. That's totally fine. I think it's a really interesting take on this universe. It's kind of cool, I'm not gonna lie. I still have issues with the middle part, but I love the beginning, and I really do love the ending that we got so far. This trilogy is pretty decent in my opinion. So after Bruce wakes up, he walks out to the patio and he sees a figure coming down. It's Martian Manhunter. Now, I didn't mention him earlier, I forgot to. Martian Manhunter's in here. He's played by Harry Lennix. He is the general, the military general that we saw in Man of Steel. He was in Batman v Superman, and now he's here. He was on Earth the whole time. This isn't the first scene we see him in though. There was a scene earlier with Lois and Martha having a conversation, a little heart to heart, much better than the version that they had in the 2017, obviously. But at the end of that scene, as Martha's leaving Lois's apartment, she morphs into Martian Manhunter. Cool reveal. It's nice that we got him in the universe. Really cool that it was Harry Lennix the whole time. But the fact that they did that like in the middle of the movie, they basically said, oh, Martian Manhunter exists, but he's not gonna help them out whatsoever in the final fight. I think it was the wrong time to introduce him. He at least existed 2 hours into the movie and didn't come back until 2 hours later when everyone almost died and freaking Barry had to run his ass off to go back in time. I thought it was really cool that they're setting up the bigger Justice League, you know, when they add a bunch of other characters in it. There's a lot of other setup for a bunch of other characters in this film, in this whole universe. Like, they've been setting up Supergirl since Man of Steel. I think the Atom was set up in this film. And Green Lantern, because we saw that ring go elsewhere. There's a whole lot of superheroes that are being set up, and I just really hope that we could possibly get something. Guys, if you are going to be campaigning for a continuation of the Snyderverse, please don't be mean about it. Don't be evil and malicious towards people, towards like CEOs and executives of Warner Brothers. Please don't do that. They've already expressed their opinion on Zack Snyder films. They're clearly not the financial successes that they had hoped they were going to be. So let's just see where they go, campaign peacefully, and maybe, just maybe, we might see a sequel down the line. Let me know down below if you've gotten the chance to watch this 4-hour director's cut of Justice League. Tell me your favorite superhero, your favorite moment of the film, all down below in the comments. Leave a like, subscribe to the channel if you're new, and be sure to stick around, guys, because there's always more to come.